Hi and welcome to Sacred Spaces. My name is Michaela Dreberg and with us today we have Ian Wilson from Wilson ID. Welcome Ian.
Thanks, Michaela.
So we're somewhere a little bit different today. We're in front of a residential home known as the Rose of South Yarra.
That's right, yep.
So where did this come from?
Well, it started as a dinner party with mutual friends, introduction to another family, and out of that came the opportunity to build a really unusual and interesting project. A client who wanted to live in a warehouse style space, and they had purchased an old cottage that was on this site and wanted to start from scratch. So that presented us with a lot of challenges and some fantastic opportunities.
Well, I've had a sneak peek already and it's amazing, and I can see why you were Building Design of the Year.
Yep. Should we bring our listeners in?
Let's
or
check
viewers
it out.
And let them have a look at this house.
That'll be wonderful, thanks.
Okay, good on you.
Well, Ian, this is the entryway to the house, and immediately when you walk in, I feel like I'm in a very traditional Melbourne funky bar.
Yeah, well, that was really where the concept came from. In the beginning, we really struggled with this project. You know, you're living in, you're wanting to live in a warehouse style space, but a warehouse by its nature has layers and history and patina. Now, we were building from scratch, so how do you sort of create that sense of history and lineage? And so, because of that struggle, I share an office with some young architects from Bent Architecture. And even though we'd developed a floor plan, I couldn't get the sort of architectural expression that I wanted and that the client was happy with. Anyway, while they were developing the exterior of the building and the industrial sort of feel of it, they came up with the concept, why don't we, if a client is really in love with laneways and the idea of Melbourne's industrial sort of bars and cafes, why don't we create our own laneway? And so that once we had that sort of concept on board, it really helped us to spin off from that and allowed us to create this incredible diversity of spaces and openness that you're about to witness.
And now the bluestone feel of the flooring also makes sense.
Melbourne streets, there's bluestone everywhere. So we've used, polished cement block. We've used bluestone through all the floors on the ground level. And here we have our sunken lounge, is sort of a more intimate, darker space. But like in Melbourne's laneways, you'll walk from one moment to the other and there'll be this rich, sort of warm environment, then there'll be another one over there. And while they're all eclectic and different, they sort of create this ambience, and that's what we were chasing with this space. As you see, as we get through the house, it opens out more, but here is somewhere where you can come and retreat and sink into this rich,
this is the nook and cranny area of the funky bars.
And there's room for the bikes.
Room for the bike. I won't fall over it,
and the scooter.
But I do like it.
We've removed the scooter for you today.
Thanks. And I love the exposed brickwork as well, although it's not original brickwork. It's recycled, and there's recycled features all through the house.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
And now this I found quite interesting.
Yeah, well, this is a bit of industrial steel. We wanted to create an environment where you could change the mood of various spaces. So we have this screen that we can move along through between the kitchen and this sunken lounge, so you can change the mood. And also there's a bar that it screens behind, so the kids can't get in there and get bottles and glasses and
if they're annoying you can put
just
them in the sunken lounge and close the door.
Exactly. So as you can see, we've used a lot of recycled Regency lining boards throughout the house, and the idea was to apply them as we found them. And that was the whole thing with this house, is getting builders to understand, no, you don't have to place it, just pick it up and put it up as you found it. And so you get this sort of what I call happy accidents that happen through the house with these layers and richness, and you'll see different colours as we walk through the building.
Now the kitchen couldn't have been a happy accident. There would have been a lot of thought put behind that.
No, well, I was a chef for 20 years, so kitchens are always important to me. Here, we wanted an industrial, it's a home kitchen, but we wanted it to have an industrial feel and a feeling that life centres around the kitchen. So we've used these glazed bricks, Sully Noir, a black limestone with fossils in it. But everything's tough and robust and meant for action.
Yeah. And then on your right, you can look out into this amazing courtyard.
Well, this is sort of what we call the summer garden. because it's always going to be cool in here. So the idea is that you can open up this which could a bench that can be a workstation if you want, or it can be an outdoor dining table. So we've set the glass back underneath so you can sit on the other side on stools, and it's the summer dining room.
And we can probably see through that it also looks onto the study area as well.
That's a lovely place to work during the day.
Oh,
Just
I can only
very
imagine.
Nice light.
Only imagine. So then this takes us into the lounging area, the family area.
Again, it's open plan, but we've used the furniture to define the space. Nothing particularly new in that, but we've used this device that runs out over the lounge area to zone this area. So you have these old weatherboards that run across the ceiling, down the wall, very industrial sort of treatment of the joinery with steel and plywood, and then it sort of folds out into these very big chunky pieces of timber that we found up in the country.
I do find it amazing that you sourced some of the features that are in this house, and there's a different feature every time you walk into a different room, far and wide. As far as a chuka, was that where the wood came from?
Yeah, yes, it did, yeah. There's a big recycled timber yard up there where they have big pieces of timber like that. So that was the process we went through. But the client in this project was very adamant about this house being about her. You know, she was sort of in a position where she was moving from one part of her life to another, and she had a really strong idea about what she wanted. That wasn't quite sure, you know, what the physical expression about that was, but she wanted ownership of the project, and her footprint is all over this project, and I'm quite proud of that because that was quite a difficult process.
Yet still capturing really the essence of Melbourne as well. We've got the laneways, we've got the old meets new, but then opening out onto outdoor areas like this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that process really pushed us to do something different. I think, you know, often our houses are materially a bit quieter than this, and I think through all of these processes you learn something, and I think the client in this place sort of in this instance taught us something about how you might use materials. So it was a tremendous opportunity, and I was really grateful to have it.
And this is just the ground level. There's a
there's
whole other
so
layer,
much more.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look then, shall we?
Okay. Back this way?
Yep.
Okay.
So coming up these stairs, it's really surprising at how much space there is up here.
Well, I think a lot of it's got to do with the way we've allowed light to enter the space. Yeah, hello Tess. We've got this void through the centre which we use to vent the house naturally. There's no air conditioning in the house, but we've used all these setbacks which are really complying with Res Code's requirements to allow light to filter through. And glass is a really important part of this whole house. We've got recycled windows inside the house, but it lets you have glimpses like you would in a laneway into other spaces. So there's this slightly voyeuristic sense that you can always see something beyond, like this access through the building. We've used all this obscure glass on the outside, so you get a sense of what's beyond, and then you'll see clouds sort of moving through parts of the window, and the coloured glass sort of filters the light.
And there's certainly a country feel in this particular room.
I'd call it New York loft.
Well, of course.
So again, we've used glass and external awnings to filter the light and allow it to play with the way light enters the space. But what's really important is that being able to see beyond the space that you're actually in, but not necessarily see everything, but just have a sense of what's out there.
And for those that are curious as to what is up here, we've got that entryway that we just came up. We're in the master bedroom here.
Yes.
There's a walk-in wardrobe behind us.
External shower.
External shower.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
What to say? I think with houses that are built to boundary like this in these sort of inner city urban environments, it's really nice to get strong connections to outside. So like I was saying, we have these horizontal views and these glimpses of clouds, so they become your landscape. But here we were lucky enough to have an opportunity to have an external deck, which required, because of overlooking, screens to 1700. So that gave us a perfect opportunity to have an area where you could go outside and shower and be completely private, and have this beautiful connection to the sky and the sort of urban landscape beyond that.
But for anyone that's eyeing off the house as one of their own in the future, there are 2 traditional bathrooms and separate
You're
toilets
covered.
as
Yes,
well.
you can hide away and have your own bathroom. So there's an ensuite for this for the master bedroom, and then there's a second bedroom, second bathroom for the other 2 bedrooms.
And so there's another 2 bedrooms. One's a spare, and another one's utilised as well.
Yeah, well, it was built as a family home, so 2 children each has their own bedroom, but they're adults now, and so it's more they come to visit than actually stay.
And another toilet downstairs as well.
Powder room, yeah,
Powder
on
room.
the ground floor, yes, yeah. So we're covered in that regard. I mean, we've got a lot on this site, but we were lucky just to have the extra couple of metres in the width of the block that allowed us to get 2 cars off site, which is really why we have the sunken lounge rather than creating a traditional sort of passageway. We wanted to be open right from the centre, so by dropping the floor, you create a sense of intimacy within that space rather than walling it off and having a separate room.
And with the other bedroom, what's one of your favourite features of that? Because that also has the angled windows.
Well, yeah, again, we had to comply with res code, so there are sort of angles, but that was the thing with these bedrooms, it gives them a lot of character, that there are skylights and angles, and I think it's the axis that runs through the building that really gives us its strength. You really have a sense that there is this line that runs right through the middle of the building, and the use of glass and that sort of mystery that creates.
Well, Ian, there's enough features in the home to boggle your mind, but we're in the rear courtyard now, which is just as gorgeous and rustic and has its own character, and also displays some of the facade work of the house that you don't even see because you're just so mesmerised by the inside.
Yeah, well, like the facade, the steel portal frame is used to imply that there's an axis that runs through the centre of the building, and then that's played off against the recycled brick in the chimney and the black zinc. So you get this composition that, while it's industrial, there's sort of a lightness, and I think in a way there's a sort of a feminism to it as well. It's tough, but it's also soft. So I think it works quite well, and just sort of finishes off and plays off against that front elevation, which is a bit harder, I think.
And you can see the bifolding doors as well that lead back into the house and lead out here as well.
When we've used steel, we've used a combination of different window types. There's timber windows, and then the bifolds, which are all in steel, so that it sort of compositionally it plays off against or sits within that steel portal frame. But then all of the coloured glass and the textured glass sort of brings it to life and gives it that delicate balance that I think helped it to get over the line with the BDAV Building Design Awards.
And awards is an optimum word here, because it wasn't just Design of the Year. What were the other ones?
Best use of glass, best use of timber, best kitchen, best interior design, best house over $1 million. So we had a very successful evening, and look, it was great. I was very pleased that the judges, because it's a tough house, and it's hard to really get your head around it with just photographs. But they could actually see that even though there was a lot of different elements to it, there's strong design intent.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's still a home with all these kooky features throughout that continue to surprise, but still functional.
It's got a lovely warmth and light, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ian, for spending some time with us today, walking us through the Rows of South Yarra. It's been very eye-opening.
Great. I'm glad you could be with me and enjoy the house as we've enjoyed building it.
That's what we certainly have. My name's Michaela Dreberg. You're watching Sacred Spaces, and we'll see you next time.